Hey everyone, I am your astrologer Wonder Girl, taking you to new heights. Here is your daily forecast for the day of Friday, May 11th, 2018. Now what we've got going on today is the moon hanging out right here in Aries, where it actually entered at 7 a.m. Mountain Time today. And what that brings our attention to is us, who we are, just all around our identity. Since Aries is the first sign of the zodiac, it rules who we are. Also brings our attention to how we do things, since Aries is a Mars-ruled sign. How we do things to accomplish the things that it is that we want and are important to us. Also, with Aries being a fire sign, we're thinking about what we're passionate about, what excites us personally. All right, so that's what's going on. Maybe there were some things that we were thinking about the past few days while the moon was in Pisces. Maybe there are some things we were working out internally, spiritually, emotionally. And now that the moon enters Aries, 7 a.m. Mountain Time this morning, we start to put some of those things into action, to make some of those things that we processed inside manifest in a more real way in the world, okay? So maybe that's what's going on this morning. Then after that happens, 2 hours later, 9 a.m. Mountain Time, some uncomfortable feelings could come up. That's because at 9 a.m. Mountain Time, right after the moon enters Aries, it makes a conjunction here with Chiron, where you can see it in this chart. Excuse me. And the moon in a conjunction with Chiron is going to bring up some uncomfortable feelings again, because it's in Aries in regards to who we are and how we do things to make the things we want manifest. Maybe we want to start doing things now that the moon's in Aries to make things happen, to move forward, to initiate plans, to progress, but maybe it's hard for us because we don't know how to do the things that we want to do. Or maybe we've got so much going on that it's difficult for us to move forward in the way that we want. Maybe as well, we just feel like, we'll be judged for the things that we do or for how we do them, and that for some reason we can't really move forward in the way that we want. That really resonates with us coming in, okay? That could be a little bit difficult. Really needing to not let that get you down. If there's anything that comes up this morning that is uncomfortable or that makes you feel like you can't do the things that you want or need to do that really resonate with you, to just try not to listen to that or to deal with those feelings the best that you can so you can move forward, okay? Not feeling so bad, all right? Coming in. And that's mostly going to be going on for most of the day, because once that happens, the moon's just going to hang out in Aries until 10 o'clock at night Mountain Time. And at 10 o'clock at night, what the moon is going to do, it's going to move further through Aries and it's going to make a square with Saturn. And what that could bring at the nighttime are definitely feelings of restriction, feeling like you have lots of responsibilities in life and it's maybe hard for you to do the things you want or need to do because there's so much else going on. Maybe feeling like, right, there's something else that's preventing you from doing the things that it is that you want, to make sure that your life goes in the right direction. Maybe you've got a lot of other big things, important things on your mind weighing on you that you feel are also making it hard to move forward, okay? I think the key with this alignment, though, with the square with Saturn, is to not be afraid to face the hard things if anything does come up, to take care of your responsibilities, to put your life in the right place, okay? And I think that will help make you feel better. I think another way to deal with this alignment as well, a lot of times with Saturn, you'll get choices, to make choices. Okay, well, I want to do this, but I can't do that right now. This is most important for me. What's most to prioritize, okay? And I think if you can make choices and prioritize, as well as do some of the work you need to do, even if it isn't necessarily what you want, I think it will help you to feel better moving forward, okay? So that's what we've got there. Then what happens after that? At 11 p.m. Mountain Time, so an hour later, the moon comes off this square to Saturn and it makes a trine over here to the North Node in Leo, okay? I like this one. To me, this aspect is the best one of the bunch. Today could be a little rough in the morning with Chiron, can feel a little bit hard. At night with Saturn, maybe feeling like our plans are being thwarted, or we don't have the desire to do what needs to be done, or it's hard for us to accomplish the things we want and accomplish the things we need to do. Could be a little hard, but I like this aspect, because this aspect at 11 p.m. with the moon in a trine to North Node can then bring progress, forward momentum, forward movement, us starting to feel happier, more joyful than we have previously today, okay? And I think what today is all about is if you do the hard work, if you deal with the hard feelings and don't let them get the best of you, take on the responsibility, make the choices about what you need to do versus what you can do or what you want to do, then I think by the time you get to 11 p.m., you're going to start to feel like, okay, maybe I didn't like what happened earlier today. Maybe I didn't like some of the choices I had to make because they didn't allow me to do what I really, really wanted to do and I'm really passionate about, but I made the right choice. I made the right decision. And I moved forward on that, and now I feel like I'm in a much better place because of all the hard work I put in earlier, even if the process wasn't as glamorous as I wanted it to be, okay? So I do see some good things coming in very, very end of the day, 11 p.m., even if it's surrounded by some difficult things that happen beforehand, okay? And that's all we've got going on for today. What else we've got going on in the background? We have Mercury in a square with Mars today, which could definitely bring lots of conversations, lots of communication, either with yourself or with other people. Maybe if it's not a communication outwardly with someone, just a lot. Your mind is racing, a lot going on in your mind coming in here. Because Mercury just came off of the square to Pluto, perhaps it has to do with something you talked about earlier in the week, some big change that you may be considering making to your life, to where you see your life going, or to some uncomfortable feelings that you were digging up perhaps from beneath the surface as well. And maybe you thought a lot about that earlier this week, talked a little bit about it as well, and maybe now your mind's working it over a little bit more in overtime, maybe a little bit trying to process those things out. Okay, so I think that's what's going on. I think these conversations that you may be having, maybe just needing, since this is a square and this is Mars, and I typically reserve my more negative interpretations of planets for squares, but because this is a square and because this is Mars, maybe needing to temper some of your thought processes. Our mind could be racing. We could be wanting to move forward a mile a minute based on some conversations or some things we thought about earlier, and I think with this placement, it's saying you got to slow down a little bit. Don't go so fast. Maybe you want to go fast, but when Mars is in a square with Mercury, perhaps you miss important details or skip certain steps in your passion to do things that are necessary. So I think that's a big thing that comes in if you're communicating about anything or revisiting some difficult issues that came up earlier this week, needing to just slow your mind down and even slow your words as well, to make sure that you're saying things with tact, considering all the options, gathering all the information, and moving forward in the best way. Mercury and Mars in a square can also give you a little bit of a sharp tongue too, saying things without thinking, maybe that don't take other people's feelings into consideration too. So just to be wary of that. It's good to think, you know, and like I'll have a lot of different options and a lot of things going on, and I know we want to work a lot of issues out in our life to move forward on them, but make sure that if your mind is running, that you are communicating in a more tactful way so that you don't say something, even if it's accidental, that upsets someone, and make sure that you're thinking more detailed about what's going on and not missing any important information that you may need. Okay, so that's happening there. Mercury as well is about to come onto Uranus, while Mars is also about to square Uranus as well. So definitely could be some unexpected things that do occur in these conversations that you have, either with yourself or others, either some unexpected insight that you get or something unexpected that someone else does or says going on. Okay, so just be on the lookout for that. An unexpected thing isn't always bad. It doesn't always have to be bad, but especially with the squares involved, it could definitely be a little bit jarring, not what you were thinking was going to occur. Okay, and just needing to be on the lookout for things that are unexpected and to not make things worse than they already have to be. Mars as well in a square with Uranus can make us like anxious, nervous, frustrated, wanting to break free from the things that are caging us in, coming in here, and needing to make sure that you don't act out too soon before anything has occurred or in the wrong way that could upset people. A lot of times with Mars Uranus, I say you got to bring people along with you. You have to let people in on your thought processes before you all of a sudden explode and everyone else is like, oh, I didn't know you were thinking that. Why didn't you let me know all along? So try here with this placement to include more people here in your thought processes, in what's going on, and to parse out more of the details so that some of this stuff doesn't get out of hand. Okay, so that's what's going on there. We also do have Venus in a square with Neptune. Could have made, it's coming off now, it could have made relationships a little bit confusing, conversations with relationships, about relationships difficult, maybe even about money as well. But because Venus is coming off the square, I think maybe we're starting to get rid of some of the confusion about the relationships and get more of the insight, figure out more what we really want inside when it comes to relationships and to money. And I think that's what we're starting to figure out now as we're having some of these conversations in a rush to get answers. Hopefully, more of the confusion that we may have faced earlier is starting to fade, even if all of the answers are not here yet. All right, again with the Neptune too, needing to be patient and compassionate with other people. You'll get the answers you need, and the answers will come in their due time, and to just kind of wait things out. Doesn't mean to stop trying to get answers to questions that you need and to work out the details to things that are going on, just that we could benefit at this time from taking it a little bit more slowly than we want to take it, and from paying a little bit more attention to the details and using a little more tact. Okay. So I think that's going to be very important, especially with Mercury coming over a conjunction with Uranus. There's some things that can change in a moment's notice with Uranus. Unexpected things can come up that you weren't planning on, that can make things very, very different than what you were expecting. And so you don't want to make like any decisions now, lock yourself into any decisions or say things that can inflame a situation before you yourself even know the whole story of what is really going on. So I think there's a lot of that coming in, just really needing to gather more information about your relationships, about your money, about your situation before you go about making any rash decisions or saying anything that you may regret later. Okay. Yeah. So maybe I'll leave it there. We also do have the Sun here in a trine with Pluto coming in right before the new moon, so that could definitely bring some more changes in your life and where you see your life is going, so that you can feel more confident, comfortable, and build more stability into your life in some way. Okay, so I see that going on. I've been saying that for a while, especially with the full moon we had not too long ago in Scorpio, a whole bunch of Pluto stuff we had since the beginning of this year. I think we're definitely trying to change our life for the better, to put it in a direction that we feel more confident with, and like it's better suited for us. Okay, so I think that's a big thing. I think this new moon, which is going to be in a trine with Pluto, definitely could bring some big changes to your life, especially with Uranus involved, where you thought your life was going. For sure, who you thought you were coming in, but I think it's really this new moon is really trying to get everything out in the open of what we really want and need, so that after this moment, the changes that we'll make, and we'll still be making changes in our life while Jupiter is in Scorpio for the next few months, but I think we're trying to get everything out in the open at this new moon, what we really want, need, feel inside authentically, so that after this new moon, the changes that we make will be different. It will no longer be totally upending our life to be something else, even though that could come in at the Saturn-Pluto conjunction down the road, but it'll be more about making little tweaks here and there to our plan as we move on, instead of totally changing everything from the ground up. Okay. Yeah. So that's what I see going on there. And then we also have Jupiter in Scorpio in a trine with Neptune, saying anything you can do to address any feelings that you have hidden below the surface that may be uncomfortable, or to make some more changes in life, to put it in the right place, is definitely going to help you feel more peace inside, overcome the past, and to move forward. All right. So that's what we've got going on today. Kind of intense. A lot of nervous energy going on for sure. Now your card for the date is the Hermit upright. This card is interesting. This card to me, I think can bring what? Maybe perhaps a need for you to take some time out for yourself today to check in with yourself. The man is holding like a light with a star in it. Maybe you need to find your inner star, your inner light. Can do that. Coming in. I don't know if I like that interpretation, just because the moon was in Pisces the past few days, so you should have been doing that the past few days. and the moon now is in Aries coming in, and typically a moon in Aries is a little bit more active and not as quiet or behind the scenes. So maybe what this card could also mean is a need to put some of those things that you thought about the past few days, that you processed internally and spiritually, and to start to move forward on them. Could also be a thing coming in if you want to think of like the opposite of the Hermit. So that could also be something that's needed today. But if you do that, I think the balance is going to be important. Balancing what you want to do, what needs to get done, what's important to you versus what you're feeling internally, and to make sure that you're doing the things on the outside that really represent what you want on the inside as well. I think that being a good thing today, to get the balance just right, to not just do things because that's what you want to do and this is how you feel, but to do things because they come from a good place inside, they come from a place of compassion, they come from a deep place, spiritual longing that you really want to get out there. And I think if you can focus on that, it'll help you. Especially because the moon in Aries is not like a good spot, like right now with the Chiron being there, the Uranus, the squares to Saturn, Mars, Pluto. So maybe it's saying, sure, do the things that you want to do and need to do today, but don't be afraid to listen to your spirit, to nurture yourself emotionally through these times if anything uncomfortable does come up, and to listen to your spirit. If you need to make some of the situations that may arise today better. Okay, so that's what I've got for you today. Thank you so much for watching my horoscope. If you like it, please like it on YouTube, subscribe to my channel, share it with your friends, and I will talk to you later.